My name is David. I've lived 75 years and, I'll be honest with you, learning to let go is one of the hardest things I've ever faced. Have you ever held on to something long after it stopped serving you just because you didn't know how to let go? I did, for too long. I lost peace, time, and even people. I'm not sharing this because I figured it all out. I'm sharing it because maybe you're holding on too tightly too. For years, I believed letting go meant giving up. That surrender was weakness, and softness meant I'd be broken. But time and life taught me differently. Have you ever confused control with safety? I did. But slowly, I learned that surrender isn't failure, it's a quiet kind of courage. It doesn't fight or force. It opens. It breathes. And in that stillness, something sacred enters. Let me share 6 quiet chapters from my life moments when I learned to release control, ego, fear. What if peace doesn't come from holding on, but from letting go? Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Maybe in these reflections, you'll recognize a piece of your own story. And if you do, I hope you feel a little less alone. Chapter 1: Letting Go of Youth. If you've ever stood in front of a mirror and wondered where the time went, this chapter is for you. You're not alone. There's a quiet moment in all of us when we realize we're not who we used to be. At 45, I ran marathons strong, proud, determined to outrun time. Youth felt like a badge of honor. But at 63, my knees softened, and one morning, I saw a reflection that no longer matched the man in my mind. It hurt. I grieved the energy, the speed, the confidence I had worn like armor. But age has a gentle way of revealing truths youth often hides. I began long, gentle walks instead of relentless runs. In those slower steps, I heard birds I never noticed. I saw flowers growing wild where I used to rush by. The world had always been this soft, I had just been too fast to feel it. The slowing down wasn't a loss, but a return. A return to noticing. A return to being. We do not truly lose youth, we trade it, softly, for something deeper. In letting go of youthful strength, I discovered a gentler one. More patient, more present, more rooted. Strength that didn't roar, but held steady. Aging didn't make me less, it invited me to be more still. If you are in that moment now releasing who you once were, I want you to know this. You are not fading, you are becoming. Let go gently. What's waiting on the other side isn't emptiness, but presence. And sometimes, the slowest path leads us to the most beautiful places. Chapter 2: Letting Go of Pride. Have you ever felt like you had to prove yourself again and again just to feel enough? In my 50s, pride ruled me. I wore success like armor, promotions, achievements, titles. I feared failure not because it hurt, but because it exposed me. I thought being respected meant being untouchable. Until one evening, I gave a speech. I stumbled. I froze. And in front of everyone, I broke. Shame washed over me. I wanted to disappear. But something strange happened. People didn't laugh. They leaned in. Friends offered kindness, not criticism. I expected judgment and met compassion. That moment so small, so human was the beginning of something I never expected: freedom. Pride had been my prison. That speech cracked the walls wide open. Without pride, I felt exposed, but I also felt real. I didn't need to impress anyone. I just needed to be. Humility crept in not as defeat, but as relief. I no longer had to carry the weight of being impressive. I began to speak with less polish, but more truth. People listened more. Somehow, in dropping my mask, I became more visible. If you're still clinging to pride like it's your shield, I understand. I did too. But what if letting it go could make room for something softer, something stronger? What if your strength isn't in being flawless, but in being fully, openly human? Let pride melt. Let humility breathe. There's peace on the other side of proving. Chapter 3: Letting Go of Fear. Have you ever lived in fear of something that hasn't even happened yet? Do you replay worst-case scenarios in your mind like a movie on loop? At 69, a doctor looked me in the eyes and said, "We need to run more tests." That was all. But fear moved in like fog quiet, heavy, everywhere. I wasn't afraid of pain. I was afraid of losing what I loved. My time, my body, my quiet little life. For weeks, fear dictated everything. My thoughts spun into endless spirals. Every twinge was a symptom, every silence a warning. I tried to fight it. I stayed busy. I distracted myself. But fear is a shadow you can't outrun. One afternoon, I sat by a pond. The surface was still. My mind wasn't. But then, a simple question surfaced. What am I really afraid of? I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of not living fully while I was here. Fear had stolen more from me than illness ever could. That realization was the first crack in its grip. I exhaled, not in defeat, but in surrender. I couldn't control what would happen, but I could choose how I'd meet it. I could choose presence, openness, peace. That choice changed everything. If fear is whispering to you right now, telling you to brace, to hide, to worry, I understand. But let me tell you what life whispered back to me. You don't have to know the future to live today. Let go. Let it breathe. Let fear pass through, not take root. On the other side of letting go is not certainty but calm. And sometimes, calm is enough. If this spoke to you, share it. Someone else may need it too. Chapter 4. Letting Go of Love. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that the thought of losing them felt unthinkable? I did. Her name was Lavra. We shared 42 quiet years, mornings, rituals, the kind of togetherness that doesn't need noise. And then she was gone. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly fading like light at dusk. The day she left, the silence in our home became unbearable. Letting go? I couldn't even begin. Grief arrived as a storm, loud, overwhelming, unrelenting. But over time, it softened. I stopped fighting it. I stopped pretending I was okay. And in that surrender, something shifted. I began to remember Laura not just with pain, but with warmth. A scent, a song, a way of folding laundry she taught me. Letting go didn't mean forgetting. It meant loving her without the ache consuming me. I learned that love, when truly deep, never disappears. It just changes form. It moves from touch to memory, from presence to essence. Lavra still lives in the rhythm of my day, in the way I stir tea or smile at quiet things. Letting go wasn't letting her go. It was letting grief release its grip so her love could remain softer, freer, without weight. If you're grieving, I won't tell you to move on. But I will tell you this. Love doesn't leave, it lingers, gently, quietly, in the background of your breath. Let yourself feel it, not just as pain, but as presence. And if this moment brought someone to your heart, share it below. Say their name. Let love be remembered together. Chapter 5. Letting Go of Control. Have you ever tried so hard to make life go your way, only to watch it do the opposite? For years, I planned everything. I tried to protect everyone. Control made me feel safe, even powerful. But slowly, life humbled me. A lost job, an unexpected illness, a phone call I never saw coming. Each one cracked the illusion. I wasn't in control. I never had been, and it terrified me. One afternoon, exhausted from holding it all together, I sat under an old oak. Leaves drifted down with no resistance, no panic, just surrender. I watched them fall, one by one, like tiny teachers. They weren't clinging. Why was I? That day, I let go not with confidence, but with tired hands. And in the stillness, something surprising arrived. Relief. Letting go of control didn't fix my problems, but it freed me from the pressure to fix everything. I began to trust life's rhythm more. I learned to pause before forcing outcomes, to breathe when uncertainty rose. Life still surprised me, but instead of panic, I responded with softness. Surrender didn't make me powerless, it made me present. If you're tired of gripping so tightly, maybe it's time to loosen your hold. Let life move, even if you don't know where it's going. Trust the season you're in, even if it makes no sense yet. If this landed with you, give it a quiet nod, a like, a share, a moment of stillness below. Someone else might need it too. Chapter 6. Letting Go of Self. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, who am I? Without all the roles I've played? At 74, I sat alone one winter evening. No more titles, no schedules. No one calling me dad, boss, or husband. Just me and the quiet. It was terrifying. My identity had always been built on doing, proving, being someone. Without it all, who was left? At first, the silence felt like erasure, like I was fading. But slowly, gently, something else emerged. I was still here beneath the names, the labels, the roles. There was breath. There was awareness. There was me. Not the me I had built, but the me that had always been waiting underneath. Simple, still enough. Letting go of self wasn't about losing who I was, it was about shedding what I wasn't. I no longer needed to be important to be worthy. I didn't need recognition to feel real. The more I released, the more I returned to presence, to simplicity, to quiet truth. My worth was never in what I did. It was always in that quiet being. If you've been holding on to a version of yourself you've outgrown, it's okay to let it fade. You're allowed to become again. You're allowed to just be. And if that idea stirred something in you, share it below. Who are you becoming? Even quietly naming it is a powerful start. Final reflection, the bittersweet path of surrender. Now, at 75, I've learned that letting go is not a single act, it's a lifelong practice. Each chapter, youth, pride, fear, love, control, even self asked me to loosen my grip. And each time, I resisted. But surrender came anyway. Gently, persistently, like a tide that doesn't need your permission. And within the ache of letting go, I found peace, not loud, not sudden, but deep and still. If you've made it this far, maybe you're already on the path too. Maybe you're holding something so tightly right now, an identity, a memory, a fear that it's keeping you from breathing fully. Letting go won't erase the pain, but it will make space for something else. Softness, stillness, even joy. And isn't that worth a little surrender? So don't just nod quietly and move on. If this stirred something, say it. Write in the comments. Say what you're ready to let go of. If this cracked open even a corner of your heart, share it. Someone in your life needs this too. And if this felt true, don't scroll past it. Let this be the moment you stop gripping and start releasing. Right now, start here.